Hey everyone, welcome back. So today is Monday. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I'm feeling better today than I did yesterday, so that's a good thing. Hopefully my voice doesn't give out on me today. Bitcoin within the last hour here, hour and a half or so, has crashed 5%. It was up nicely above 31,600. Has obviously come back down. It's now at 29,787. So we'll take a look at Bitcoin. We'll take a look at Ethereum. We'll take a look at the miners, see how they did today. Then we'll cover Core Scientific, Hut 8, and Hive as far as our production updates for May. So let's get into it here. And as always, you guys know the drill here, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. Don't fall for scams. Spam posts get reported and deleted. And I'm investing in following companies and coins. Full disclosure so you guys are aware. All right, let's get into Bitcoin here. Take a look at the chart. It is not looking good, but it's not bad. There's some good to it here. So looking at the 1 hour chart on Bitcoin, it's at obviously 29,767, 69, somewhere around there. And we've obviously come way down the last 2 hours here on it. I'm recording this, it's about 9 o'clock or so, Central Standard Time. So Bitcoin has been, obviously, the last 2 hours, once the day changed over, basically started plummeting on it. The good thing is RSI is way oversold right now. We're at 24 on the RSI. Looking at the price where we are on it, we were obviously here roughly. We were much higher on the RSI where the price compared right now. So price is flat, RSI is way down. On the 1 hour chart, that at least leads me to believe that we may be bottoming out here, going up higher from here a little bit. Let's take a look at the 4 hour chart. 4 hour chart looks the same way. RSI is down, not in the oversold territory, but it is down. It's at 40. Last time we were around here, we were at a price equal to that as well. So on the 4 hour chart, we could go either way, I guess, looking at it right now. On the daily chart, we can see obviously we waked up to yesterday, which is still today. We went up to a high of 31,745. And then we're obviously back down to 29,790 roughly. And it's looking, I mean, right there and right there. We're at the same spot. So not much has changed on the RSI for the daily chart. So it still leads me to believe we may be battling with this resistance here. And more than likely, we may be coming down to that 24,000 range before all of this said and done, unfortunately. Ethereum is looking the same way. It followed suit, obviously fell a little bit lower than on a daily here already. It's down 5.54%, 5.56 to 1,754. It was up on the day here to a high of 1,918, and we've obviously fallen down on it. RSI has fallen a little bit more than it was in the past, so it's basically doing the same thing as Bitcoin is on it. Let's take a look at the miners here. Take a look at Annie. Annie was actually down today 0.97 to $1.02. Down a little bit more in the after hours to $1.10. Argo was down another 6.56% to 57 cents. Digital was down 1.22% to $1.62, up a little bit in the after hours to $1.64. Bitfarms was down 1.55% to $1.91, up double actually in the after hours to $1.97. Cleanspark was up 3.41% on the day to 576, up a little bit more in the after hours to 580. Cores was down 8.27 to $2.55, and after hours are up a little bit. I'm surprised that they're down. I wonder if that's having to do with their Bitcoin hodl position, but we'll get into that. Digihost was up 4.47% to $1.87, down to $1.80 in the after hours. DMG was down 1.02% to 29 cents. Hive was down 2.36% to $4.14, down a little bit more to $4.12 in the after hours. Hut 8 was down 4.13% to $2.21, up a little bit in the after hours to $2.22. Iris Energy was down, it was up 2.04% to $5.51, down 2% in the after hours to $5.40. Luxxfolio was down 3.03% to 16 cents. Marathon was up 1.48% to $8.93, up a little bit more in the after hours to $9.05. Mawson was down 2.39% to $2.04 and up in the after hours to $2.09. Riot was up 2.58% to $6.37, up a little bit more in the after hours to $6.40. And Stronghold was down 4.71% to $2.83, up a little bit in the after hours pretty much wiping out the losses to $2.97 on that one. All right, so let's get into the miners here, and then we'll call it a day. So this is for Core Scientific. We'll get into the details here on them for May production. And here is their information way down here. So data centers, Core Scientific continued to develop and expand its operations in Texas and Oklahoma, while data centers owned and operated by the company in Georgia, Kentucky, North Carolina, North Dakota continued to operate as expected. So that's a good thing. As of month end, the company operated a total of more than 180,000 servers of all types in its data centers. That is just mind-blowing. 180,000 miners. That's insane. Self-mining. So Core Scientific self-mining operations produced 1,138 Bitcoins in May. In addition to multiple curtailments in response to local grid operations, as of May 31st, the company held 8,058 Bitcoins produced from operations. That is a decrease. We'll get into that a little bit when we look at the data that I have on for them. But that's a decrease from the prior month. As of May month end, Core Scientific operated its own fleet of more than 90,000 ASIC servers, producing 9.2 exahash, which is really good. Co-location services, we're not really too interested in that. That's, chump change to what they're actually making from their own mining. Here they're making, 2, 3, at most 5% on this. So representing, they have basically 7.9 exahash, representing about 80,000 ASIC miners. And then here's a grid support. So in the month of May, the company powered down a portion of its data centers operations in Texas on 13 occasions for a total of 1,218 megawatt hours. So that's possibly why they're down a little bit on production. Trying to see if there's anything else. I think that was it that I wanted to talk to you about them. And let's get into the details here on Core Scientific. So Core Scientific, we have them at, they actually produce a little bit more. So 1,138 in May. April, they only had 1,121. Obviously, Bitcoin prices come back down. So they only made about 36 million from their self-mining. I'm not including any mining that they do for hosting or any revenue that they do from hosting, because just like I said, it's like 2 or 3%. And my throat is starting to get dry again. So that's a difference of 17 more Bitcoins than the prior month, which is good. Up 1.52% on that. Checking on the institutions have increased for them, excuse me, to 115. Shares is 28.05 million. And percent owned is 11.73%. So that's obviously an increase. So it looks like institutions are buying into them. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I guess my throat isn't as good as I thought it was. The more I talk, the more I'm starting to get an itch and everything else in my throat. So I do apologize for that. So it does look like institutions are buying into the shares. They are way undervalued in my opinion, as are most of the miners here that we cover. And it's kind of nice to see that obviously institutions are buying into them. Now looking at their Bitcoin hodl position, so 8,058 is what they reported for May at the end. At the end of May, sorry. Wow, this is going to be a long video. If I got to take a break every couple of seconds to have a sip of water, this is going to be a long one, guys. BTC hodl. So this is what I had for April. So they had 9,618 BTC in April. So it looks like they sold possibly. They didn't report this, but it looks like they sold possibly 1,560 Bitcoins, which is valued at around 59 million. I think I was using the 37,500 price tag or something like that, or 38,000, I think, per Bitcoin. So that would get them about 59 million in capital for that. Oh, okay. Also, looking at the miners here for May, we got them to 9.2 exahash here by adding about 3,000 of these miners here, the 100 terahash miners, getting those installed here. We still have about 5,085 from this batch that were part of this. That should be correct, I believe. Yeah. So that's where we are at right now. Also had them down for about a day or so on mining to 30 days in May to get into the 36 point. Did I have that right, or did I forget to do that? what do we have them at? 36,170. Yeah, so that's correct. 36,177 is what I got them at here. So basically down a day of mining for the month of May on most of these. And these look like they were possibly mining at 29. So they could be like, these were at 20 and these were at, 29 and a half or something like that. But that's where we stand right now. Looking at the revenue side of things, for May, it looks like we're at 36.7. For the quarter, it looks like we're going to be at about 114 if everything stays the same right now, with the Bitcoin price being where it's at as well. So we're looking at 114 million compared to 136 million or 133 million that was reported in Q1, which is obviously down, and Bitcoin's down, hash rate has increased. So that's all contributing to it as well. All right, so looking at their BTC HODL, it is basically 30% of their market cap, which is valued at about 253 million right now. Market cap is at 829 million. Okay, looking at their quarter earnings and their last 3 quarter earnings, we're looking to be about 75% net income from gross revenue. Price to earnings multiple of 20. We're at about $17.57. The stock right now is at $2.55. So it is way under. I mean, even if we lower the PE slider here, get it down to 5, we're still nowhere near that 255 right now. So they're about 2 or 3. But even if we use the 50%, which is maybe a little bit more fair for them because how much they are spending for their hosting and how little they're getting for it, they would be, roughly at about price earnings multiple of 5. And then if we get them up to where they really should be, they should be closer to 20 in my judgment. Based on how big they are, how much they're growing, they would be at least at 1171 on 50% net income from gross revenue. And then obviously using 75%, they'd be at 1757, which is way higher than where they are right now. And we can see that the buy ratings have not changed. Everything stays the same there. The high changed a little bit to 18 from 1875. The average went down and the low went down. So it's pretty much in line with where I have them as far as the high would be the 75% net income from gross revenue, and the average is right around where I have them for the 50%. So that's in line with kind of what I have them at as well for that. Overall, great month for them. Nice increase in not only Bitcoin produced, increasing their hash rate as well. In general, they're just doing, all the right things and growing. And they're going to be fine going forward. I think once Bitcoin, as I keep saying, Bitcoin rebounds, all of these miners are going to rebound as well, which is a good thing. And we also have to remember here, so here's the thing that I was kind of thinking about earlier. With Bitcoin being at 30,000 roughly right now, if you remember about 2 years ago, we were at around 3,000, almost 4,000 in price. That's a 3x almost, or 10x from where we were. We really shouldn't complain where the price of Bitcoin is right now. And I think investors in general are just scared right now with what's going on in the economy, the inflation, everything else. I think that's what's leading to Bitcoin being in a rut, along with the miners especially being in a rut. So great job by Core getting this done, getting things installed. I am still surprised at how big they are for a company, doing this. So that is it for Core. Let's get into the other ones here. So let's do Hut 8 mining. So production update for Hut 8, they have 7,078 self-mined Bitcoin reserve after 309 were generated in May. Testing was completed at North Bay, Ontario site. Mining began on June 2nd, so that's a good thing. I think they provide a little bit of update as far as what they're going to be increasing their hash rate here relatively quickly. Production highlights. So 309 Bitcoins were mined, resulting in an average production rate of 10 Bitcoins per day. Ethereum mining, for which we receive payment in Bitcoin, generated approximately 14% of our total production at a cost of approximately $3,654 per BTC, which is really low, which is in line with basically what Hive is doing as well. They have obviously very low cost when it comes to mining Ethereum and then converting it over to BTC. Let's see, what else do we have here? Total Bitcoin balance held in reserve is 7,078 as of May 31, 2022. Installed operating capacity was 2.64 exahash. And additional updates. So power costs continue to fluctuate throughout the month and will and we limited our consumption at Drumheller when the spot price of power spiked. So that's a good thing. They probably could have mined a little bit more. I wonder how much it spiked. If their cost is so low on that, would it have made more sense just to mine it anyways, even if the spot price spiked, depending on what it spiked to. And then testing began at Hut 8's third mine in North Bay, Ontario in late May and began operating on 15 megawatts of power on June 2nd, adding approximately 400 petahash to Hut 8's operating capacity. Okay, so 400 petahash, so we'll get another nice increase here for June. And then they are continuing to add miners and increase our power supply throughout June and anticipate that the North Bay mine will have a measurable impact on our production results going forward. So that's a great thing there. And that is it for them. Let's take a look at their numbers here. And hopefully my voice doesn't give out. All right. So May, 309. April, 309. Same thing. They did increase their hash rate a little bit, but obviously the network hash rate has increased, so that's obviously contributing to it as well. So they just basically stayed on par where they were, which isn't bad at all. Obviously, we would want them to increase more than that, but hey, nonetheless, they at least didn't go down in production. So that resulted in about 9.8 million in revenue for them, which is a good difference from prior month of zero, obviously. And looking at the institutions, we did have a decrease here, unfortunately. So institutions is now 175 compared to 185. Shares is 35.8 million, and that's down to 20.62% compared to 23.6%. We still have the same one strong buy rating, one buy rating, and the only thing that changed here was the high got lowered to 954. The average got lowered also to 620, and the low got lowered to 398 on it. Looking at the miners here we installed, to get them to where they are in May, we installed these miners here, the 93 terahash, about 745 of them, to get them to the 2.6, I have a 2.637 exahash. They are actually at 2.64, which is pretty close. And then as far as the revenue, we got them pretty close to that. But I did have to lower their months mining, but I probably should have just lowered the amount they made off of their Bitcoin mining or Ethereum mining through Bitcoin miners. No, they're Ethereum miners or GPU miners that are mining. Basically, they're getting paid out in Bitcoin. That's what I wanted to say. So I probably should have just lowered that because I think that went down for somebody else as well, and that probably would have represented. So they maybe were down a little bit here, but I don't know if that would have resulted in such a huge change. So that probably could have went down to maybe 1.2 million or something like that. That might have obviously offset the number of days here a little bit. So that's kind of what I'm using here to get to the 9.8, which is what we have here on this. We have a 9.821, and I have them at 9.825. So we're really close to that as well. All right, so that's the mining part of it. We also installed these down here. The 960 of these miners looks like in May. Got those added in here as well. So to get into that number of 2.64. Is that correct? Am I doing that right? Let's take a look here. 2.64. Yep. Okay. I was second guessing myself there for a second. Too many numbers to deal with. All right. So that looks good there. HODL position obviously is 7,078. That represents 223 million. Their market cap is 387 million right now. It's basically 57% of their market cap right now is their Bitcoin HODL position, which is just crazy. I'm sure they're not only their mining equipment, their infrastructure, their buildings, everything else, adding on top of it, they're probably looking at close to, I'm guessing, 500 million in or more, maybe 600 million of net assets and Bitcoin value. So just crazy right now, the way that they are obviously, that the way they are priced, right? Market cap should be way higher. Looking at everything, we're seeing current quarters about 33 million, last 3 quarters 128 million. Price to earnings multiple of 75, price to earnings multiple of 20, 75% net income from gross revenue. We're looking at $13.78 with a 20. Obviously, right now they are at, if we lower this down, less than 5, so maybe around a 3 or a 4 PE compared to where they should be, probably closer to a 15 or so, to about $10 or so. So way undervalued as well on this. Nice job by Hut, obviously getting, at least having their Bitcoins being the same, not losing on that, and getting their hash rate up. We want to see that continue. Obviously, we're going to see that continue in June for them, which was going to be a good thing. So nice job by Hut. They are pretty efficient as far as when it comes to mining Bitcoin. All right. Lastly, but not least, we'll take a look at Hive here. And I got to take a sip. My throat's starting to get really dry here. Hold on, guys. All right, I'm back. We'll see how long we can go this time. All right, so Hive Blockchain made production for 2022. Here is the nitty gritty. So 273.4 BTC produced. This is from their own Bitcoin mining machines, the ASICs. They also produced 2,684 Ethereum from their GPU miners. Current, they are at 2.15 exahash of Bitcoin mining capacity at the beginning of May, and they ended up at 2.18, so about 30 petahash increase from the beginning of May to the end of May. Ethereum stayed the same at 2.6 terahash, and here's just some comments from them. Frank Holmes stated, "We are pleased to report in May, Hive continued its strong momentum in expanding our hash rate. Notably, our Bitcoin mining hash rate grew by 8% this month through installations and electrical upgrades. In May, we produced an average of 8.8 BTC per day. We are pleased to note that as of today, we are producing approximately 9.2 BTC a day. And that's even after the recent difficulty increase of 5.5%. Continuing on down here, so here's their company's total Bitcoin equivalent production in May. So this is where they add in the Ethereum that they mined, converted over to BTC, and this is what we get as a combined. This is kind of what we use. So 459.2 BTC equivalent, 14.8 BTC equivalent per day, which is good. And they basically have a 3.4 exahash of BTC equivalent hash rate currently for the miners that are GPU and ASICs. Here's some interesting notes from them as well. Market sentiment for the top 100 technology stocks and Bitcoin. The correlation between Bitcoin price trends and top 100 tech stocks is 93%. Further, the correlation between Bitcoin miners and Bitcoin prices is plus 90%. The trend has been harsh and down over the past year, especially year to date with rising inflation and rising interest rate fears. In fact, the negativity is very high, as reported by our primary stock exchange that 25% of our total traded value is shorted. So that is interesting to know that much of their shares are being shorted right now. Let's see what else. I think there was something else here that I wanted to show. Yep, there it is. So they did increase their guidance here a little bit. 1 year ahead hash rate growth outlook. The company will be at 6.2 exahash BTC equivalent hash rate in 1 year, based on contracted monthly deliveries of ASIC and GPU hardware with deposits in place, up from 3.4 exahash of BTC equivalent hash rate today. So that's obviously a good sign that they are growing, being almost double where they are today. And was there anything else? Yep. Oh. And their fourth building in New Brunswick has just been completed, which will bring our data center campus to a total of 75 megawatts, up from 50 megawatts. The fourth building is in the process of being commissioned this week and will coincide with upcoming deliveries of new machines. Hive is also progressing in development of the Intel Block-scale ASIC miner, with functional test units expected this month, so that's exciting. For the Hive engineering team to operate and test in its facilities, with prototype production expected for late summer and mass production scheduled to launch this fall. So that's actually pretty quick. That's only a couple months away. We're almost in summer now, so we got 3-4 months before we get back into fall. So that would be a definitely quick turnaround time for them. And I think that was it. Yep. that's the important stuff I wanted to share with you guys on that. Let's take a look at what I got for them. And we'll call it a day before my throat kills me here. Okay. So, looking at here, they did squeak out a little bit more Bitcoin mined in May than in April, which is good. So 459.2 in May compared to April 458.3. Value obviously went down, Bitcoin went down, so that's a known fact. So that was almost 14.6 million in value using the price of Bitcoin for the end of May. Institutions did decrease to 134 from 141. However, shares went up to 9.3 million, but percent owned went down to 8.38. I think that has to do something with their conversion or the reverse split that they did. So that's probably affecting that. Price is 14, the same for high low. We still have one buy. What is that? SB. What does that stand for? Strong buy. There we go. Drawing a blank there. So SB is strong buy. Stayed the same. 0 buys, 0 holds, 0 underperforms, and 0 sells. So that's good there. They did increase their hash rate a little bit, obviously. And we do have a long list here. So May is here. Let's get that down here. So May, we did install. What did we install here in May? I think we just installed 330 of these 90 terahash miners in here for the month of May. We did also decrease their amount they made from Ethereum mining, converted over to Bitcoin to 5.7 from 6.9. And everything else was mining for 31 days here. And we got them to the 2.18 exahash they reported. And we do have them at about the 14.6 million in revenue total on it. So we're right there on that as well. They did increase their HODL position a little bit to 3,186. That is valued at about 100 million right now. That represents 29% of their market cap is basically their HODL position right now, which is just crazy as well. And we're looking at for this month or this quarter, we're looking at about 46 million compared to 52 million that we have for the first quarter. We still don't have the results for the first quarter from them, so we're waiting on that. Hopefully they'll come in pretty soon. They're always pretty late on their reporting on the numbers. I know they're in multiple jurisdictions and countries, and I know it makes it a little bit more difficult, but I wish they would report a little bit faster. We're already in June here, so we're 3 months behind that. So our current hash rate is 2.18. GPU is about 1.2 if converted over to Bitcoin. Total is about 3.4. Right now they are trading at about a 2 price earnings multiple with 75% net income and gross revenue. They should be at least at a 10 to a 12 on that. So they should be about 23.96. So obviously way off from where they are right now. And we know that's the case with all the miners. So we're not going to get into it too bad, but you guys know the drill. The miners are just way undervalued. It happens when the Bitcoin is going down. Miners get crushed. But when Bitcoin does go back up, the miners are going to outperform Bitcoin, hopefully, like they did in the past. If it doesn't happen this time around, well, I think we're all in a bad way then. But that's it. That's all I got for you guys. As always, the spreadsheet is available to Patreon members. Thank you to my Patreon members for their support. If you guys found this video useful, helpful in any way, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out. That's all I ask. You guys are a great bunch of boys and gals, I guess. Always commenting and things like that. I love talking to you guys in the comments. So if you do comment down there, I do appreciate it as well. And that's it. I hope you guys have a great day. We'll see how this week shapes up. Right now, Bitcoin's kind of in limbo. We'll see where that goes. But be patient. We're in this for a long game, or at least I am. I hope you are too. Right now, I'm just buying the dips, like I keep saying, as best I can. I'm looking to buy more possibly this week. But we'll see how things happen. It's hard to time the bottom. Best way to do it is dollar cost averaging. As always, not financial advice, do your own research, but that's just kind of what I'm doing and has worked out for me in the past. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. We'll see what comes out tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow I got 2 videos I'm working on. One is on the Bitcoin law in New York, mining, and the other one is Could possibly any of the miners go belly up if Bitcoin goes down to like 20,000, or what's the worst case scenario for them? So that's coming up as well. And hopefully my throat doesn't kill me by then. All right, so that's it. So that's what's in the works. Again, I'm rambling. Thank you so much. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you next one. Bye.